Alright, so today I am going to be starting a new Let's Play series. Well, my first Let's Play series, but also sort of a challenge run. We're going to be doing a Professor Oak of the first Evocreo. If you're not familiar with a Professor Oak challenge, it is a challenge originating from the Pokemon fandom, where you are supposed to catch and evolve every single species that you can before each gym. So in this case, we're going to be using the Colosseums instead of the gyms, but it's close enough. One of the things I'll be doing in this challenge is trying to shiny hunt as many of the species as is reasonably possible, and that's going to include the starter that we're about to get. One of the things I do want to note about the challenge is that I am going in somewhat blind. This is my second playthrough of Evocreo, however, I'm still working on finishing off the first one. So we're gonna figure out what we can actually do, what we're actually capable of, how far we can actually go into each area. We're gonna be figuring that out as we go. I tried my best to try and figure out what I would be able to do, what I would be able to catch in each area, or before each gym rather, just by looking at the Creopedia on my other save file, which again isn't complete, but the Creopedia isn't actually super accurate. Anyhow, a lot of the more recent editions like Gensym don't actually show where they're supposed to be on the map. Some things show as appearing in areas where they're not actually supposed to, and certain things, so that map, the Creopedia in general, just isn't super reliable. But since we'll be shiny hunting, gosh, this is the last one I wanted to get, but this is fine. Furin is my favorite, but it's going to not work. It's not going to be the best for this challenge, but there we have it. There's our Furin. It is my favorite. So I'm not gonna complain too much about that. But since we'll be shiny hunting, we will be fully aware of what all spawns in each area before we... I can't interact with you yet. Okay. But since we will be shiny hunting, we will find out for sure what is available in each area, and I'm sure we won't miss anything. Now I will be shiny hunting only what's, like, reasonable to shiny hunt. So I won't be shiny hunting everything. Things like Radow I won't be shiny hunting because they are, just not easy to identify as shiny, and certain rare ones like, Dior, for example, I'm not gonna be shiny hunting, a bazillion Dior. That's just not reasonable either. But we'll be doing our best to get as many shinies as possible, in this playthrough. We also, as you might have picked up on already, we're not going to pay that much attention to the story. It's not particularly relevant here, and if you want to enjoy the story, you should just go play the game yourself. So now we can see Furin. We're going to make sure that he doesn't evolve at all. Just got Scratch for now. I love Furin. I got a Furin as my starter, as my shiny starter on my main playthrough as well. And that's quite nice. I do like Furin. We got very lucky with our starter hunt. It didn't take nearly as long as I was expecting it to. So we'll definitely be doing a couple more hunts for this video at least, because it would be very boring to just end things after that. Normally that starter hunt takes a lot longer. If you didn't know, the odds in this game are about 1 in 357 for a shiny. Those odds are significantly better than it is in a lot of other games, and the method for hunting, which I'll go ahead and go over later, is significantly faster than it is in a lot of other games, and so it's really nice to hunt in this game. I've done quite a bit of hunting in my main save file as well. Alright, and that's the end of the woods then. I don't remember if I didn't grab anything that he'll want, but we'll give him stuff later. and he'll give us stuff. We have access to the gym now, which means we can't do anything until we can't progress at all. We can't fight this gym until we have collected everything we have access to. We need to catch every creature, we need to fully evolve every creature, and I'm actually going to do this as a living dex, which means that I'm going to need to physically own one of every evolutionary state in the line. So, for example, if we're doing Valnaught, which is what we're going to be hunting first, we are going to need a Valnaught, a Valroot, and a Valtree, one of each stage in the boxes here. Oh, that's the healing. In the boxes here, which of course we don't have anything in here right now. Our other goal, we would like to get up to the player character to level 16 pretty soon, so we can start using Vorgener. But for now we're stuck like this, and that's okay. Oosh, we do not have much money for Flux. We don't have much money for Lynx. We have 11. That should be plenty. That should be plenty for a Valnaught hunt. We'll also be exploring the woods pretty extensively at some point or another, so... But we'll just hunt Valnaught for now. Like I said, we're gonna need multiple of everything, so whatever we can catch is great, but for now we're just looking for a Valnaught. We'll worry about money later. My favorite spot to shiny hunt in the woods here is gonna be right here in this spot. As you can see, there are 3 enemies we can see from here, and so that makes it very easy to soft reset. This is where I got a lot of my shinies from my first playthrough. It's where I got my first Valnaught in my first playthrough. We'll catch whatever's available here, whatever shines, but we are primarily looking for Valnaught, because we can't really use Furin at the moment, which I do need to come up with a name for him. I may leave them unnamed because I like the name of the evolution we're going to go for. I'll also be catching any Dior we find along the way because we're going to need a lot of those. We do need 8 Dior from the 50 Acre Woods before we're allowed to move on. Yes, only 8, even though we're doing the living dex, not 9, and we'll discuss why later. Anyway, whenever the game loads up, it completely respawns the enemies in the overworld, which is why you see these guys that are spawned in changing every time that I load up the game. You can see on the top right now, there's 2 Radau and a Baloo on the bottom. And when I reload it, it's gonna be a Pepita, a Valnaught, and another Pepita. And this doesn't just re-roll the species, it re-rolls everything, including the shininess, which is why this process is going to go relatively quickly. We're not going to catch anything super rare yet unless we see a Monkopod or a Dior. Other than that, we won't be catching any Militia or anything because we want to save our Lynx for a shiny Valnaught, and in case we find any other shinies on the way to where we'll be going later. Because we do have a couple more areas we're going to have to access, and we're going to need a lot of money for that. Because clearly we do not have the funds. Clearly we do not. Oh, God, of course. Here's a Monkopod. We don't have the money for a lot of Lynx right now. And until we reach player level 16, it's going to stay that way. Okay, and thankfully that guy stayed in on the first one. I am very thankful to that. I don't want to waste any of these. If I use too many, I'll have to, I guess, wander around the forest fighting people to get money. And we can try and gather the logs for the dude over there. Oh, look at that. I have never successfully caught a Dior, I'm gonna be honest with you. They run so easily. Even if you status them, which we're not statusing, they just run. You can't deal damage or they run. And in this case, you're gonna fail to catch them, and it's just they're a headache to deal with. Oh, and we may actually get knocked out, so we have to make sure we heal up. See, they run so easily. I'm not super concerned about it. We'll come back later and we'll make sure we have something with a fear inflicting status effect or something like roar. I will double check and see if Furin learns anything like that. If it does, that's fantastic. I don't believe that it does, but I do have an idea in mind for what I think I want to get that can cause fear status, that does have roar. And if that doesn't, if we can't actually access that for reasons, we will discuss. I'll figure something out that can either cause fear or sleep, because those are the two best statuses for catching, if memory serves. Or at least that's what everyone in the Discord has been telling me to do. I believe all statuses have a slight chance, have some effect, but sleep, like Pokemon, is the best, and I believe fear is also pretty good. Once we get Valknot, we'll at least have Paralyze, because it gets a move called Voltage Spores, which causes paralysis without dealing any damage, and that will be quite nice. It also gets another spore move, Abrasive Spores maybe, which causes bleeding, and that's kind of what we're after right now, is we want some status effects. Oh, there's another Dior. What do you think the odds are I actually get it? Not very high. Not particularly high. I do really like Dior's design, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm pretty sure the shiny is black. And, you know, it's really hard to go wrong with the black shiny, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, Furin and Raybas, I'm pretty sure they're all black shinies, black or like grayish, and they all look incredible. That's exactly what I was expecting. Yep. Well, there we go. Okay. I didn't think that I would miss a shiny Radow. I'm usually pretty good at identifying slightly different shinies like that. But I was very concerned that I would miss one. I'm very glad that I didn't. This isn't what we're looking for, but it'll do. I'll take it, no complaints. I mean, I do have one complaint, and that's that I was hunting one of these on my main save file and managed to phase 5 times on it before finally giving up. I would have liked to have gotten this then, but you know what? I'll take it now. Hopefully it stays in the link. Perfect. Okay. Good. Then we'll go ahead and save. That only took 1 link. So I may just sit here a bit longer. Keep punting. Alright. I did not know Pepito looked like that. It looks like a candy apple. It feels very Halloween themed. I know it evolves into a pumpkin, so that's rather fitting. I forgot I had... Hold on. Oops. Oh well. Okay. Yeah, that's very cute though. I love that it's still got the little blush. That's cute. I don't know what Pepita's moveset looks like. It may... I feel like it would have status, right? Like it would have status effect moves. I mean, it's a plant. I feel like it would have lots of bleed focused moves like Vine Lash and whatever that one's called. It's too bad I have to look at the wiki because the Creopedia isn't available until after you've beaten the first gym. Well, I'm going to take a look at Pepita. I think I'm gonna nickname it Candy Apple. But I'm gonna take a look at Pepita. We're gonna decide what I want to do with it, and then we will go ahead and start moving through the forest. So I went ahead and cleared out the woods. I have some stuff to turn in. I then came down to Trail 1, which is just south of the original town, Adla Town, and then Silicon Valley, and then Trail 1. The enemies here are a little bit higher level than they are in the 50-acre woods. They're closer to level 10. So I brought Furin up to level 16. It now has Giga Blast with Attune, which means that it's going to be doing quite a bit of damage, and that allows us to switch train here with whichever of these we would like to train up first. But what I think I actually want to do is I want to come through here now that I am player level 6. I want to get the businessman trait, and I want to go through here. I want to fight everyone, and then I want to try and shiny hunt Scarasect. I actually would like to try and shiny hunt too, since it does evolve. And we'll pick the one with the higher stars to be the one that we use. But for now, I just gotta go through and fight everyone and gather everything, and that shouldn't be too bad. Really, this portion of the playthrough is just kind of a bit of a grind for money and for levels before we can move on or do anything else. Once I finished fighting everyone here, I started hunting for Scarasect, which there aren't really any good hunting spots here, so it's gonna take a while, but I'm okay with that. One of the interesting things about Trail 1 is that there's really, unless you're shiny hunting, you don't spend much time here. And there are some really more unusual creatures I didn't expect to spawn here, and this guy is one of them. I really thought, until I started this, I really thought that Ravian, Scarasect, and Gensim were the only things that could spawn here. Turns out that's not the case. And I'm going to try and catch these guys because of how rare they are. Oh dear. Well, I'm going to try and catch these guys if I see them again. I will be here for a while since I'm shiny hunting. So I'll try and catch them so that we don't have to deal with it later. Alright, here is the first Scarasect. Alright. It is... I didn't realize it's only 1 star. Alright, well... You think I can land a hit on this guy without killing him? Barely. Jeez. Okay. Okay. You know, I'm very glad this was the first shiny that showed up, because it could have been very easily been a Gensim or a Ravian. Not that we don't need those ones, but if I'm trying to get 2 Scarasects. I also managed to get 2 Chesshatter while I was here, which means we won't need to get any more of those later unless there's an easier opportunity to shiny hunt them, which I believe there will be, but I won't be shiny hunting them here. They're a bit too rare. Oh, you're kidding me. That was really quick. Afterwards, I will take a look at how long that actually took, because that wasn't very long at all. After the last one. I don't know. Oh, this is another 1 star, though. That sucks. There we go. Alright. Well, then with that, I think it's time to try and level that guy up. I decided to spend some time switch training between Scarasect and Furin, trying to raise up Scarasect's level. For the rest of my plan, I will need Scarasect to be at level 23. So we're gonna be here for quite a while. I'm hoping that in the process, the player level will raise by quite a bit, and then maybe we can access Bargainer. I'll also try and raise the other two, Radau and Pepita, and, any other shinies we get. I'll try and bring them up to level 16 so that they have their first elite move, and we'll do all of that before we move on, because there's an area we need to access that's going to be a little bit higher leveled than we are currently. This is what I was a little nervous about, is that the Creopedia says that Elacat can spawn here. This is the first one that I have seen, and I was doing that whole shiny hunt. This is a 3-stage line, which means that we're going to need 3 of these before we leave. So I'm going to try and catch this guy now. I have a feeling it's not going to go very well. But we'll have to keep an eye out for these, and these I'm definitely not shiny hunting here. I'll probably redo the hunt later. All 3 stages do spawn in the wild, so I probably will go ahead and hunt all 3 just for the fun of it at some point. But for now we're just gonna look for the base forms, because with that level of rarity, that's on par with Dior. I ended up doing random encounters for the rest of Scarasex leveling, and I came across another random shiny Scarasect by accident, and this one, of course, is still 1 stars, which is really disappointing considering I just fought like a 5-star one. Most of my shinies end up with really low star counts, and I'm not sure if it's related to the area I'm hunting, or because they're shinies, or if they're just that uncommon. I really don't know. But here's another one. Scarasect has been brought up to level 23. That took way too long, so I don't intend on bringing up the levels of anything else. But I think this is going to be enough. So right now we've got Scarasect with the move it learns at level 23, which is Poison Spores. It is guaranteed to inflict poison. The elite move is Rampage, which always causes bleeding, and we'll probably use Fortify as well, just to get a bit of a defensive boost. We have it set to Toxic, which all of its moves have a chance to cause poison, which in combination with Poison Spores, it has the ability to cause bad poison on the same turn or potentially in 2 turns, which is why I went for Scratch over Bite, because Scratch doesn't have a recharge time, and so you will be able to use it more often, and so you'll have more chances of inflicting poison. Furin is the only other one that's of an acceptable level to really be fighting right now. I have Body Slam and Scratch on it because I don't want it using any elemental moves, because I don't want it to evolve into any of these elemental evolutions. It still has Squirt because I don't have an alternative move for it. Candy Apple isn't really going to do anything here, and neither is Radau. This was the strongest Creo that I caught that wasn't shiny, since I didn't have any other shinies to add to the team unless I got another Scarasect, which don't think that's the best option. So I grabbed this guy because it was the strongest, and it also has a chance of causing confusion with this sneak attack. It doesn't have anything else it's going to do for us, but it's here. What we got today total was, I did manage to catch that Elacat, so that was good. I've got 2 Chess Hatters, which means we don't need any more of those because it only has 1 evolution. We will need 2 more Monkapods, but we can deal with that later. And then we got 3 Scarasect, which we only needed 2, and they are all 1 stars, unfortunately. And then, of course, we have the Radau, the Pepita, Furin, and our main Scarasect. With that leaves us with 4.7% of the Creopedia complete, 2.33% of the entire Creopedia shiny, and that means 57.14% of what we have caught has been caught shiny. We have 6 shinies, and that is where I think I want to leave off for now. Hope you enjoyed. Bye!